toasting, joking too. Sipping and roasting is what we do. Light 'em up, drink 'em down. Whiskey and cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
Well. That's the sound of a party.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. We are here for show number 293, and we have to start out with an apology because we totally did not do a show last week.
Yes, family emergencies and whatnot.
Well, I was just going to say that the reason the show last week didn't happen can vary depending on your worldview and where you line up on things. For example, if you are a Republican, it was Joe Biden's fault.
There's that.
Yeah. If you're a Democrat, it was Donald Trump's fault.
That's right.
Okay? So just pick whichever one of those works for you, and we'll just use that as the explanation.
I may be showing my age a little bit, but I still prefer to say thanks, Obama.
Well, you are showing your age. See, that's just...
It just sounds right, though.
Yeah. It had a certain ring to it, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. Well...
although the Joe Biden I did that stickers are pretty funny. I don't care what side you're on. That's funny.
There's a lot of funny out there, and a lot that's not funny at all, quite frankly. So,
the reason for those stickers.
Yeah, right. So welcome, my friends, to show number 293. We are going to talk today about doing a ranking of the best drinks made with whiskey. All right. So
did you bring all those drinks?
Rank them. I did not, but you are welcome to. And I tell you what we're going to do. I'll already give you a preview of next week. So I'm not the world's greatest bartender, but every now and then I get pretty good at something, like from doing it enough times, and I feel like I have perfected a drink, and I want to share it. It's a very simple one, but I feel like I've gotten it just right, and I want to share it with people next week. Next week we will be making the perfect vodka gimlet.
Oh. Okay.
Because man, have I finally nailed this one?
Man, I'm pretty darn good at making a whiskey with ice.
Yeah, I know you are. You're very, very good. The way that you add the ice to the whiskey.
I will choose one chip of ice, not too big, not too small.
And that's a cocktail that you can make at home. You don't have to.
You don't need a little straw or nothing.
You don't have to be Chris Morris to make that one. No. You know, you can really make it happen.
I don't even shake it. I just go straight up. Let it do what it does.
So, a couple of items of business. First of all, we apologize for not being here last week. There really was a family emergency, and those things sometimes just take precedent. And the way our week is structured, it's kind of tough to make it up in the same week. So we decided to give ourselves the week off, and everything's fine now, and we're back for show number 293. Now, we have also made an executive decision that to celebrate our anniversary show on show number 300, it's just too ordinary.
It's too easy.
It's too easy. That's what the plain shows would do.
The plebes.
Right? The plebes, right. So we're going to celebrate our anniversary of this show. We did one on the 100th show. The 200th show we were going to do, but it wound up being during the middle of lockdown and really didn't make sense to do it. So now we're going to schedule the next anniversary of the show on show number 333. That's going to be our big blowout. We're going to invite everybody in. It's going to be a huge group. There's going to be, mass hysteria, dogs and cats sleeping together, the whole thing. It's going to be fun.
Is this true, sir?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So look forward to 333. That means we've got...
this gives Bruce Stark a chance to also book a flight, make it in.
Oh, Bruce should totally be here. He'll be the guest.
That'd be amazing.
Bruce, if you do come down for 333, because he's in Michigan, right?
He's in Michigan.
Bruce, if you do fly down from Michigan to Texas for 333, we will make you the guest of honor for our anniversary show.
That would be awesome.
You'll be like fan number one, guest of honor. So anyway, welcome to the program. We have a lot to talk about today. We mentioned ranking the best drinks made with whiskey. So it would make sense that we'd be tasting a whiskey today, right?
That's right.
So we're not.
Good.
We're going to instead be tasting Don Cosme.
See, we
Tequila
we tend to keep things consistent by being inconsistent.
Right.
We're consistently inconsistent.
Right.
Therefore, raising the amount of consistency that we have.
Right. To a high level.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be tasting the Don Cosme Tequila Anejo, and if you're looking at that bottle on Mr. Twirly Gig right now, it's going to be pretty hard for me to admit that there hasn't already been a little bit of tasting.
This one's not going to be a surprise for you.
Yeah, no.
You know what, though? If I turn the label a little bit this way and line up where you broke it,
Yeah.
it looks a little less broken into.
A little less like it's been, well, yeah, but it's still hard to argue with the tequila level in the bottle. So there's
For those
that.
of you just listening, there's about 2/3 of the
Yeah.
bottle left.
Yeah.
Although the
so-
bottle is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The dog on the bottle is like I said, like a little Chihuahua.
who's like multicolored, sort of
multicolored, partially skeletal.
Mexico colors, Day of the Dead colors.
Yeah, it's
Kinda
really
cool.
interesting.
Kind of cool. For beer tasting today, we're going to be tasting a lager from our friends at Galveston Island Brewing Company. It
Ooh,
is
that
their
sounds good.
Loggerhead lager, and Loggerhead in this case is a reference to the sea turtles.
Yeah.
The loggerhead turtles that go crawling back to the sea once they're
That's pretty
once they hatch. And by the way, I got to witness that in Mexico. I don't know if it was loggerheads or not. I don't know enough about turtles to know, but I was staying down there for vacation at a place that was on the beach, and some of the locals started saying, "Come on, follow us down the beach." We followed them down the beach, and sure enough, man, here came the little tiny baby turtles.
How awesome
all
was
headed back.
that?
I shot video of it with my phone. It was awesome. It was one of the coolest nature experiences ever. So if you ever get a chance to witness that, you should. And I don't know if they do it at Galveston, but you know,
That's pretty cool.
if they do, I would go.
I've
down
only
for it.
ever seen that on National
Sure,
Geographic.
yeah, or on the what is
the
the
Discovery Channel or whatever.
the Planet series on Netflix with David Attenborough
Oh, that's right. That's right.
narrating the turtles. I can't do it. I can't do an impression of him. If I could, I'd try to make a bunch of money. From New Belgium Brewing Company in Fort Collins, Colorado, their Citrus Rescue Citrus IPA. This is a really interesting concept because you know those companies that you can sign up for like a subscription to them and they send you like ugly fruit,
Yeah.
like fruit that is fine. There's nothing wrong with
Right,
it, but it
right.
just
There's,
doesn't look quite good enough for the supermarket.
What's the one? I'm trying to remember the one that we get at the house all the time.
So, you get tomatoes that have a big
Right.
bulge on one side or something.
Carrots that are carrots of unusual size.
Yes,
let's just say.
exactly. Well, these guys at New Belgium, which
That would be chaos, wouldn't it?
they have teamed up with Citrus Rescue and done exactly that. They're using
Imperfect produce.
funky,
That's the one. I was
yes, there
thinking.
you go. Funky and imperfect citrus to make their IPA, and so
Nice.
that's why they're calling it Citrus Rescue. So we'll be tasting that, and then from Bend, Oregon, and Deschutes Brewery, their Black Butte 31. It's their 31st birthday porter.
Oh, Black
Yeah.
Butte Porter is real
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, this is their yearly special.
Nice.
So we'll be looking
That's
forward
exciting.
to that. A lot of cigars to tell you about, cigars to watch for. We will also be telling you about, this may be the first, a video game is getting its own whiskey.
Wow.
Assassin's Creed. Have you heard of Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed?
yeah.
So Assassin's Creed is getting its own branded whiskey. So I'll tell you a little bit about that on the program. Plus, as always, we will be here for your drinking news. And maybe if you want to give us a little music prelude, I'll give you the drinking news teaser headline for this week. She's gone, but will never be forgotten. And there's your teaser headline for drinking news. So
That's
anyway.
right. I bring the ukulele all the way out for that.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi to the show.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I just like saying it. So,
You're so French.
yes, I am. I'm very international, and I'll probably try to translate some Spanish for you later in the program.
Noted.
So, all right. What a week I have had, and I know you've had a crazy one. But did you, during this, crazy and upside down week, find an opportunity to smoke anything
on
interesting?
my way over here this morning, I swung by the Galveston Island Cigar Lounge.
Oh, were you in Galveston, and that was really on your way over? Or
Not
did
at
you
all.
Go
It was
a
nowhere
good
along
ways
my way.
out of your way.
No, I was chatting with Alan over the weekend, and I told him I'd meet him down there for a cigar at about 10 o'clock this morning.
That's so cool.
Now,
What
here's
a
how
cool
sweet
guy.
Alan is. Alan is such a sweet guy because I told him, in my mind, I was like, the shop opens at 10. I'll just meet you at 10 when you open. He doesn't open at 10. He opens at 11. But he showed up at 10 just to hang out and have
Just
a
to
cigar.
hang out
with
and have
me.
a cigar with you. That's how good of a dude he is, you know?
And we did. He introduced me to a cigar that I had to put on the show, so I'll tell you all about it. This is a CAO BX3.
I have heard about this cigar.
CAO.
I'm very excited to hear what you thought.
So CAO, let me just give a little background on my experience with CAO, man. They were one of the, when I first started getting into cigars, they were an absolute go-to.
Absolutely.
Like the entire line, they could do no wrong just about. And then they sold.
Right.
I believe it was Davidoff. Is that correct?
I believe it is Davidoff that bought them.
Then
Yeah,
they sold. And then their
the-
quality control absolutely tanked.
Yes, the Osgener family. I think I've told you this. I met Tim Osgener, the son of Kano, who was the guy that founded CAO. It was his initials on the cigar. And I got a chance to just chat with him. He was one of the most fascinating people. He was so passionate about cigars. That was why I was actually a little surprised when they sold CAO.
Yeah.
But they are getting back into the cigar business. In fact, we'll talk about that in the Cigars to Watch For segment because they have a new one that just came out. So excited about that.
Ah, okay, cool.
So, but they sold CAO, and you're right. The quality did go downhill for a while.
Yeah, it went downhill for a long time, and they've been sneaking back in. They've got the they came out with the Bones, and the Bones is a good cigar. It's a good. I hesitate to say budget. I don't. It's not a very expensive cigar, but it's a
Right.
very good cigar, and the quality seems to be pretty high overall on all the ones I've smoked. They're great. The Session has a lot of people that really enjoy it. I'm not a fan of it. I've tried it. It's not for me, but there's a lot of people that I've talked to that really enjoy the Session, and it smokes well apparently. So they're coming back up. And then I did one a few. Did you do one a few weeks ago? Or I did one.
Yeah.
That was the.
Why did the Brasilia?
You did the Brasilia. That
few
was
weeks ago.
That's one of the old school ones. I did the. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, so Alan brought this out. He's like, check this out. So this is a Toro, which also surprised me because Alan usually smokes a smaller cigar than that. The things you get to know about the people you smoke cigars with, right?
That's right.
So this is a Toro 6x52. It's a pretty good sized cigar. BX3 stands for Brazilian times 3. It's a Matafina, Brazilian Matafina wrapper. It's a very distinctive nose on the Matafina.
I bet, yeah.
And a very distinctive flavor on the Matafina. The first time I had something that I really recognized as a Matafina wrapper was the Matafina from McAuliffe that
right.
that we got a while back on the cruise that wasn't a cruise.
Yes, I remember that well. It was fun, but we went nowhere.
It wasn't a cruise on a boat. It was a stand around on a boat and dock. But that's okay. We had
And you
fun.
remember why, right?
The captain just didn't show up.
Yeah, he got drunk the night before and didn't show up.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, but that was my introduction to the Matafina, and I'd probably had Matafina before, but when you have a cigar that's called Matafina, you start to pay attention to the thing, right? And the Matafina has such a distinctive note to it, like a very barnyard when you smell it, and very big on the nose. So the Matafina wrapper, the binder is a Brazilian. You know what? I said this in my mind earlier, and I don't know if I can say it right. Arapiraca?
Arab.
Arapiraca.
I know what I know the word you're talking about. I'm not sure if I know how to pronounce it any better.
Yeah,
than
it's
that.
just, that's if not.
Arapiraca, I'm not sure.
If I slaughtered that, make it make sense. The filler is also has some Brazilian, which is what gives it the Brazilian times 3. Also has some Brazilian, but is a blend of Brazilian Honduran, Mexican, and Nicaraguan tobaccos.
Okay.
The appearance on this dark chocolate wrapper, a little bit leathery, has a little bit of an oily sheen to it, firm overall, single band. It's a very nice looking cigar. The pre-light sniff on its barnyard earth, slight chocolate at the foot, and a little bit of hay. The pre-light draw, I used a clip on this one. Now, this is the second one that I had, and I want you to know that everything I tell you about this one was 100% true with the first one I had as well.
Okay.
So 2 for 2 on this. The draw on it was medium draw, so not tight, not super loose, but felt pretty nice. I got creamy, sweet chocolate, pepper, spice, and leather on the lips with the pre-light draw. When I on the initial light, chocolate toast and pepper blast, backed by cedar, with big savory smoke, like big smoke, came out of this thing immediately. Great for smoke rings, and I did blow smoke rings. The first third is setting into a sweet and toasty experience with enough spiciness behind it to keep it interesting. Sweet notes include chocolate powder, sweet coffee, toast. Spicy notes include pepper and cinnamon. Cedar dryness rounds out the palate, and the finish is sweet and cedar with a touch of leather. Now I want to talk about retrohale here. If you're not familiar with what retrohale is, you can do this, by the way, with whiskeys, with cigars, pipe tobacco.
So why don't you explain a little bit about how you get to the retrohale?
Right. So with the cigar, you don't inhale smoke. You puff. You enjoy the smoke, and then you puff it back out. You don't inhale the smoke. And
Never
if
a
you
good
do,
idea. Never a good idea.
You will know it immediately, and you will never smoke a cigar again. Or it'll be a while. Yeah. But anyway, so the retrohale is when that smoke is in your mouth and you let it come out gently out of your nose.
Right.
So you exhale gently out of your nose.
It gives you a little bit different way to experience it on the palate.
You will pick up many different flavors, and I will tell you, I've had people, when I drink a whiskey and I talk about some of the notes that come up on the retrohale, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, take a sip, take a breath, take a sip. Enjoy the flavor, swallow, and then let that breath out gently out of your nose, and you'll pick up all kinds of flavors in the whiskey that you don't always pick up, just on the palate. So it's really interesting. The retrohale on this cigar is exquisite. Toast, chocolate, cedar, and caramel.
Nice.
Every exhale had this just sweet caramel thing going on. It was really interesting. That didn't really show up, I think, in the smoke itself,
but just in the retrohale.
Every time on the retrohale. The second third is copious amounts of ring-producing smoke add a fun element. Cedar, oaky notes are consistent, pleasant. Sweet, creamy chocolate and toast blend well with the spicier flavors to produce an exceptional medium body experience. The retrohale is cedar and cinnamon toast with caramel. I mean,
that sounds pretty tasty.
It was really good. The last third of this, third of this, the sweet toast and chocolate develop kind of an espresso bitterness undertone and a hint of nuttiness to it, like all of that in the best possible way, like, just a little bit. Spicy notes are the foundation, and rather than distract, it adds to the complexity. The retrohale is cedar, cinnamon, toast, and caramel, solid ash. Perfect burn. Every single bit of this was solid ash, perfect burn. This thing burned like a razor all the way down.
Nice.
You'll note it in the picture up here and the picture over here at some point in time.
And don't forget the picture
over
here. Yeah.
Right. So, smoke rings aplenty and the perfect burn for the entirety of the cigar. CAO is back. I think, like this, if anything, like if they follow up anything, they have to keep their quality control like this.
The Flathead series, I thought, was where they really kind of reasserted themselves.
The Flathead was probably the foot in the door to getting back to a real good cigar. But they put out that Flathead, and then a lot of their other stuff they didn't change for a long time.
Right,
so the Flathead series was good. Then they started putting out the Bones, and they put out the Session. They're coming out, and then it looks like they started paying attention to the legacy. The
legacy
labels
brands,
that they had.
Exactly,
This cigar was $10.99. I give it a 7.
Wow, dude.
Maybe a 7+.
Wow.
This cigar is fantastic.
For a cigar over $8 or $9 to get $10.99 that big of a score. This is worth the drive to Galveston.
Absolutely. So the funny thing is, when I smoked the first one, Alan decided to have a little fun with me. He goes, "Let me tell you, that cigar is $16." I said, "I'd still rate it probably a 5+ or 6." He was like, "Wow, really?" I was like, "Yeah, no, it's that kind of good."
And both the cigars you
and he
had,
goes, "No, it's actually $11."
Both of the cigars you had were equally good.
Exceptional. They smoked, both of them smoked razor tight the whole way down. No construction issues. I mean, they were fantastic. Flavor profile, everything.
Well, for my part this week, I went for a Perdomo 10th Anniversary Maduro Super Toro.
Man, that's hard to go wrong with.
Well, let's see how this worked out. I picked this up in the humidor at Specs. Cigar just looked like a Maduro flavor bomb. I mean, just visually, you're thinking this is going to have all that Maduro sweetness.
And all those Perdomo anniversary wrappers are kind of a yellowish tint,
Yes,
too.
they are. Yeah, very interesting. So lots of chocolate and sweetness made up the pre-light sniff, and the cold draw was effortless with notes of chocolate and I want to stress this, candy licorice, kind of like a red vine.
Yeah.
Not licorice like the black stuff, you know what I'm talking
Right.
about? But more that sweeter candy
More like
licorice,
something that is
like you get
candy
at the
licorice, no,
movies.
that is licorice, black licorice flavored.
Right, exactly. It was also a very attractive cigar, from the chocolate brown Maduro leaf of the wrapper to the shiny, radiant quality of the band to the gentle corners of the box press. I'm making the cigar sound.
That's really nice.
Making the cigar sound kind of sexy, aren't I?
You spent a little more time on
I
yours
did.
than I did.
The 10th anniversary Maduro is a Nicaraguan puro. All the tobacco comes from Nicaragua, from the Maduro wrapper all the way through the binder and filler. It was also rolled in Nicaragua at Tabacalera Perdomo. I used a punch and I took a torch lighter to the foot of the Perdomo to light it up, and off I went on my cigar journey. I was completely and totally braced for the Nicaraguan pepper blast.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't get one. This is like second or third time in the last few weeks that I've been expecting that and not really gotten it. So first half inch or so of the 10th anniversary was all about mocha, that sort of chocolatey coffee combination. Also got a little bit of earth and some cedar. The mocha note was the most prominent, though, and that carried the day for the first third of the cigar. Around the beginning of the second third, the mocha note evolved to something more like espresso. Chocolate note was still there, but not quite as prominent. Cedar faded a bit, and in its place, there was a very pleasant maltiness and a hint of citrus zest. So these flavors work pretty well together. Final third, espresso, chocolate, malt, and a little bit of citrus. In other words, pretty much exactly like the previous third. Pleasant, but not groundbreaking. Construction was very good, nice even burn, and a decent quantity of smoke. I would peg the 10th anniversary Maduro at somewhere just south of medium to full. All of that said, this sounds like a cigar that I would be just crazy for. And I guess I just kept waiting for it to impress me more than it ever did. There was certainly nothing wrong with the stick. All of the flavors were good. It wasn't harsh. It didn't burn badly. I just never wound up getting real excited about it. No wow factor. At $8 to $9 a stick, I'm not expecting an Opus X.
Right.
But I know still there are quite a few cigars in that price range that pretty much knock my socks off. That's the $6 to $9. That's my sort of normal range, and that's what I kept hoping the Perdomo 10th anniversary Maduro was going to knock my socks off. So overall, not a thing wrong with the cigar, which makes me want to give it a 5, right? But the problem with that is that then I would be saying that I got what I paid for. And considering I could have had an Olivas Serie V Double Robusto,
Yeah, well.
or an Alec and Bradley Kentsugi Corona Gorda, or an AJ Fernandez Bella Artez Toro at that same price, it makes it kind of hard to say that the Perdomo 10th anniversary Maduro was in quite the same league as those. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did it wow me? No. I think after 290 plus episodes, maybe I'm just getting a little too jaded. I don't know. But price to quality, I'll give it a 4.5. Find a way to make this cigar for $6, and Perdomo would have a solid winner. But if you really want to go Perdomo, I would say save $1 and get one of their Lot 23 Maduros instead, because that cigar has some real wow factor.
That's a great cigar.
And it really is. And it's one I used to smoke a lot. I haven't had one in a long time. And smoking this one made me say, I need to pick up some Lot 23s. Those
I
are
will
good.
tell you what's right in that price range that I love from Perdomo is the 10th anniversary champagne.
Yes, that is a wonderful cigar. It's lighter,
And
but
it
it's
seems
wonderful.
to me like, because the Maduro came out much later, it seems to me like maybe people were like, man, you should make a Maduro of this, and maybe it came out as an afterthought.
I'll tell you this about the champagne. That cigar will go with more of the whiskeys in your bar than just about any other cigar I can think of.
It's a fantastic cigar.
It really is a great cigar to pair with almost any kind of
If
whiskey.
you have
or
the
bourbon.
Glenmorangie original, the 10, and you pair it with that cigar, it is really something special.
It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. All right, we're going to take a break, and we will be right back with our next segment. We got some beers to taste, including the Loggerhead Lager from Galveston Island Brewing Company, and we have
Can't wait because I'm thirsty.
More exciting things to tell you. I'm a little thirsty myself. I love doing this show. We'll be right back at Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It is Smokin' and Toastin'. We are the program that's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars.
Man, it was a good
Show
things.
number 293 is in the house today. We'll be sharing with you.
That's halfway to 333.
Yes, it is. I'm feeling good about that too. We're going to share with you some great drinks to make with whiskey, and we're going to be ranking those based on a recent list that we've come across. You know how much I love lists. So
Lists
Yeah.
upon lists.
yeah. There's an interesting thing happening in craft beer. While you open up the Loggerhead lager and pour it, let me share this with you. It's a very interesting article in the Washington Post, and I'd been thinking about this for a while, but it was the first time I'd seen anybody write about it. The article basically says that there's a polarizing divide in craft beer right now, that more and more craft beer drinkers are wanting either very high ABV craft beer or none at all.
Nobody wants the middle ground.
As in non-alcoholic craft beers, because there's always more and more of those coming out. The article tells the story of a college student named Danny Tejada and interviews him about this. He says he performs the same calculation each time. He takes stock of the beer's prices, the packaging sizes, and most importantly, their alcohol content. He says, if I'm going to drop down $12 for a six-pack, I want to make sure that the alcohol content is 6% or higher. That way I can just drink one or two and be satisfied and still have a couple of beers left for later.
right.
I'm sorry, I said he was a college student. He's a college counselor.
If you live in Texas, by the way, the best bang for the buck,
Yeah.
if that's your criteria,
Yeah.
is Devil's Backbone.
Oh, yeah. Devil's
Real
Backbone
Ale.
is
Because it's like
wonderful.
8.5% or 9%,
And it's
and
like-
it's the price of an average six
I know,
pack.
it's great, too. It's a
and
very,
it's a
very
good beer,
beer.
yeah.
it
So
really
a
is.
six pack will put you 45 degrees from normal.
So this particular economic calculation has really been taking hold within craft beer, where, according to the article in the Washington Post, beers with an ABV percentage higher than 8, which is mostly double and even triple IPAs, but also Belgian-style triples, imperial stouts, those beers with 8 or more ABV have gained 5% market share versus 4 years ago.
Wow.
All right. That's according to chain retail sales data from the Beer Institute and Nielsen IQ. Now, during that same period, non-alcoholic beers have also gained a full 1% share in those same grocery stores, pharmacies, and big box stores. So growth at the low and high end has come in at the expense of the historic sweet spot of beer, which is the only ABV range in beer to lose share in the past 4 years, and that's the 4%, 5%, and 6%.
That's crazy.
Beers, which is interesting because I will say that most of the beers that I drink are in the 5, 6, maybe 7, and then occasionally I will have something higher or something lower, more sessionable in the 4% range, or even, we had an awfully good non-alcoholic beer on the show
That
last
was
week, if you remember.
surprisingly
yeah,
good.
from
yeah.
Untitled Art. It was fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Like, there's no way I would have known that was non-alcoholic until about 10 or 15 minutes later.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm thinking we may want to try to do at some point on the show a non-alcoholic craft beer blind taste test.
Let's do it.
But I'm thinking that whatever week we do that, we really need to have, like,
We need
for
to
our
chase
spirit,
every single one with a spirit.
like an overproofed whiskey or something, something really outrageous, a Chris Hart special, something like that.
I got a barrel rum at the house. It's like 136%.
Let's do it, baby. And I know that rum you're talking about. It's almost not even rum.
And
it's like whiskey that tastes
It's
like
like
rum.
delicious.
It
though.
really is good. Yeah, it really is good. So on to Galveston, where Loggerhead Lager. What's the ABV on this baby?
5.
Okay, so that's definitely
Straight
in
5.
that-
This is I was doing research while you were jabberjawing over there, and I gotta have to tell you, it's good.
Well, it's
It's solid.
interesting. I just want to mention this about the ABV. It's interesting that those numbers say what they say, because one of the things that has been really growing in the past couple of years, has been lagers and pilsners, as
Yeah.
craft breweries really work on making them really
But I think-
exceptional.
I think
but those are
that's-
generally in the 4, 5, 6.
Right. I think that's opening the door, though. The fact that the lagers have become the thing to make, and obviously they're tougher for a brewery to make because they take longer and they take more skill to make a beer that's lighter but still flavorful. So I think that that's opened the door as well to being able to take that kind of skill to making a lighter alcohol content beer, very sessionable beer, some of the lower alcohol contents, and even some of the low-calorie beers on top of that, because we've had some low-calorie beers that are actually pretty good.
Yeah, well, first one that comes to my mind is the Founders All Day IPA.
Yeah.
That's just a really good IPA. Yes, it won't, give you a buzz as quickly.
It's not high octane, no.
But it's a delicious beer to drink, and it's very sessionable, and it can allow you to have, if you're wanting an IPA, like on a summer day by the pool, this one's not going to, bog you down. Now, I realize you're the guy that'll drink Imperial Stouts by the pool. I get it.
I have no problem with that.
Not everybody is in that.
I went
same
on my
category.
camping trip. I did not go float the river this year because I had to leave on that day and play a gig, and amongst other things. However, I did drink quite a few heavy beers while I was out there, and whiskeys.
I find this beer delicious.
Yeah, so Galveston Brewery seems to have a knack for just making a really good sessionable beer overall. Everything we've had from them has been
We had one of their beers,
pretty good.
Galveston Island Brewing Company, just a few weeks back. I'm trying to remember now what it was.
Me and my wife stopped there last year, middle of last year, some point in time. Stopped there and sat out on the patio, and I had a cigar, and it was at that time where they had to justify being open by having food. So every beer you bought, they would give you a pretzel.
Oh yes, I remember I remember that from from during the pandemic, right? You had to be serving food if you were going to be open.
So
for
Galveston
your brew house.
Loggerhead Lager, brewed on island. It says so. If you're in Galveston, and you're from Galveston and you're born on the island, that's apparently a very big deal there. And that's their own Galveston politics there. Adult loggerhead sea turtles can crush prey with a bite force of over 500 pounds.
That's pretty serious.
The more you know.
Dee-dee-dee-dee.
I need to get a little sparkle for my eye.
We do need the more you know, smoking and toasting thing that sweeps across the screen. Adam, can you work on that, please?
Hint, hint. Loggerhead sea turtles nest on Texas shores. Loggerhead nests have been found on the upper Texas coast over the last few years, even though their primary nesting site in the U.S. is Florida. This beer benefits Gulf Center for Sea Turtles Research. A portion of proceeds from each Loggerhead lager goes to the research activities and conservation priorities that will protect sea turtles populations and their vital habitats from the beaches to the oceans. I like that.
Cool. Very cool.
That makes me kind of want a little more of it.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes good.
It's actually quite delicious, which is a good quality for a beer to have. I get definitely a lot of that sort of lager malt vibe up front from this.
It's very classic beer.
Yes.
Does
very
that make sense?
Beerish.
Yes. That's very
It's very
classic.
beerish kind of
Classic
beer.
beer flavored beer.
But
in a good way.
beer is a good
But
flavor.
it's malty, and this is not like super crispy, I wouldn't say.
That's correct.
It's got a little
lot of
sweetness to the finish.
A lot of the pilsners and lagers that we've had over the past several months here, as we've been trying to do more of these on the show, have had a real crispness
Some
to
of
the
them
finish.
can be damn near an IPA, so they're so crispy.
Right. There is
But-
a little bit of hop on the aftertaste, but it's not an extremely hoppy beer. It's really
No, it pulls
I'd say
just
it's really
enough of the
quite good.
sweet out of the aftertaste to make you want to go in for another sip. I like this. I'm a fan.
Yeah, very, very good and easy enough to find in our locale. I don't know whether any of Galveston Island Brewing's products are available outside of Texas or not. But again, I will reiterate this for the show. If anybody wants to contact us, if you're in another state, and send us some of your state's beers, we will be happy to reciprocate, by sending you out some great Texas beers. You just give us a sense of what you like, and we'll do a beer trade, and that will be that'll be a blast. We can always use beers from different locations to feature here on the show. And I will say I've got to get back on the Tavor app and start buying some more beer. I had to lay off of it for a while because I was just ordering everything in
The
sight.
Tavor app will eat your money.
Yes, it's a wonderful thing, and I got us some great beers for the show on there because they're things that we might not have been able to buy here in Texas. Oh, and I got really excited. By the way, the little store that's downstairs in my building where they really have a great selection of craft beer.
I'm so jealous
But
that you could literally walk down there in your bathrobe and get beer.
And I have done that. Trust me.
Just go right upstairs.
I have done that. They don't even look at me funny anymore. It's a pretty cool thing. But no, they do a pretty good job of rotating in new stuff every once in a while. And I noticed, I haven't bought it yet, but I noticed just a day or two ago, they brought in some clown shoes.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm so excited because I love clown shoes. It's just one of those.
So fun.
They were one of those early, very experimental kind of breweries that went with a lot of big beers and stuff. That
I will never forget going to the Galveston. We're all about Galveston today, apparently. My day started off in Galveston, but I remember going to the first Brewmasters.
Right, the Brewmasters
convention they had in Galveston.
Yes.
I think it was called Brewmasters Galveston. That's something like that. But clown shoes, like when we walked in. There was a couple funny things you noticed. First off, Budweiser and Miller had these giant booths in the middle, and then all these other little craft breweries are all around the outside edges of it. And nobody was at the clown shoes booth. And me and my wife walked up to her like, "Oh, I'd like to try some." And they had Hoppy Feet.
Yes, Hoppy Feet. I remember that.
What was the other one? Muffin Top.
Muffin Top, yes, a classic clown shoes
right,
beer.
Yeah, and a couple others. And I was like, "Holy crap, this is good beer!" Like we were blown away. And then, of course, everyone we talked to were like, "Man, you got to try the clown shoes." And within a couple hours, you couldn't even get near the clown shoes.
People were
the line.
Yeah, I love that.
The whole time as well. The ladies, the hot girls that they put outside, the Miller Lite and the Bud Light
Oh,
booth,
yeah, they were just kind of standing
were
around.
so incredibly bored just standing there. Like no one would even get beer.
I'll tell you an
funny.
interesting sort of beer wars story, because those two big beer companies, Anheuser-Busch and Miller, they really don't like each other very much. And I lived for about 4 years in St. Louis, which is the headquarters of Anheuser-Busch. And I was working in radio, and we would do these, bar night appearances where I would go out and host,
Did
party
you head
games.
for the mountains?
I did not head for the mountains. No, I'm sorry, I didn't. But we do these appearances at evening in different nightclubs and stuff where we go out and, host like some party games and give away prizes and all that kind of stuff. So it's fun. You get a talent fee and get to meet a lot of people, and you get to have drinks.
Nice.
But there was this one particular night that I went to this one club. I want to say it was Senior Frogs, which you've probably heard of. Senior Frogs as a chain of bars. But this one particular night I went out there to host the show, and apparently Miller, they were having a Miller promotion. It was like $1 Miller Lights or whatever for the promotion, right? So they're serving lots of Miller Lights. And I remember the current August Bush, I think the third, actually came into the bar.
Really?
Goes to the main bar, puts down his credit card, and orders free Bud Light for everyone in the house. So the waitresses fill up their trays with Bud Lights and start carrying them around the bar. And the Miller girls were so pissed. It was just like, I thought there was going to be a rumble between the waitresses and the Miller girls. It was just, I've never seen anything like that. But
that is
I guess if you've got Anheuser-Busch money and you want to you want to pull a little stunt, that's a pretty good one to pull. That's a pretty good one.
Good for them to fight amongst themselves.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll take each other down, and then
that'd be great.
Sam Adams will be the reigning king of beer.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be awesome. Wouldn't it be great if the king of beers was actually Samuel Adams Boston Lager?
Man,
That would
Sam
be
Adams
Austin.
is that company did it before everybody.
They really did. Those guys, Sierra Nevada, Anchor, those were the early trailblazers of craft beer. And they all still make great products. And it's easy sometimes to look past them.
And
look
for
at the
those of
crazy
you
new
who are
ones,
thinking, okay, but what about like Straub and Yingling and all those? Yeah, a lot of those really, like in the local sense, stuck through, and you could get those. But we're talking about the ones that were available everywhere.
Yingling is becoming available in more and more places.
Yingling is now.
But when I moved to Philadelphia, 25, 30 years ago, I had never had a Yingling before. Like, it never had been available any place I had lived.
Right.
And I've lived all over the country. So I was like, oh, what's this Yingling thing about? And people were there, oh, Yingling, you gotta, it's like a thing there, you know? But I have noticed that as it has expanded, it has picked up a lot of fans in the areas where it's now.
Well, they've gotten
available.
big enough to where when they had to sit down and wrestle with the TABC laws here in Texas,
Yeah.
they were like, okay, well, we'll just open a brewery here.
Always a good
So
idea.
they did up in Dallas,
Yeah.
Fort Worth area.
Yeah,
They just
always a
opened
good
up a
idea.
brewery, and now they don't have to deal with quite as much of the tape, I believe.
I would think that's probably true. And, you know, same thing like Oscar Blues opened a brewery in Austin.
That's a nice place, too.
Yeah,
I've been there a number of times.
been a number of breweries that have opened a satellite. NOLA has a satellite brewery in Houston. And that trend, I think, is happening more and more. But it's going to be interesting to me to see things are changing and shifting so much in the craft beer landscape in the post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying the pandemic is over, but us recognizing it as a reason not to go
So
out
I think
seems to be over.
the one of the things the pandemic did is it shut down a lot of breweries that just couldn't make it,
Right.
and that's a sad thing.
It is.
But it also, at that point in time, if you remember, like we were just amazed at how many brewers were popping up all the time, like crazy, like popcorn. You know,
Things that have been in the works, I guess, before
yeah.
the pandemic hit. It's like, what are you going to
and
do?
then-
You might as well build
And
it.
then once a lot of those places shut down, it left room, I think, for a lot of those newer places to come in.
I think you may be right. Yeah.
And now we're having that second wave of that huge growth, I think, of the locals. And we talked about it a few shows ago where like some of the local breweries are just opening up as a local spot. They're not really talking about getting huge distribution and stuff like that. They're fine if they make it down to the local HEB.
Right,
Or you
exactly.
just come by the brewery. But a lot of places are making their breweries a destination to be, and it's really nice, you know?
I apologize for that. I usually turn the ringer off. But you're 100% right. And so think of it like they've kind of done their own restaurant and bar, but they also have a brewery there.
Yeah.
It's almost like that. And they purposely keep it on a small scale to begin with until they can branch out. I mean, I just think of like our friends at True Anomaly.
Yeah.
You know, that's a fairly small operation, but
is.
they're now not only in all the specs and Total Wines and stuff around the greater Houston area, but I'm finding them in grocery stores now, you know, and that's kind of a big deal. What seems to be happening is there seems to be more and more of a recognition that craft beer is what a more discerning customer is looking for. So if you're in I don't want to make this sound classist, if you're in a nicer grocery store, one that's trying to cater to perhaps people with a little more discretionary income, they're going to have a greater likelihood of having a bigger selection of craft.
Well,
beer.
you got to,
because they're trying to appeal to their customer.
As a store, you got to know your demographic. Over in my neighborhood, if you find craft beer, you are lucky. There's not like at HEB, at the grocery store, you can find some.
Yeah.
But at the corner stores, I walked in there and they had Kona Big Wave on sale for like $4 a 6-pack because they
Jeez.
couldn't sell it.
Wow. I'm sure you availed yourself
I
of
bought cases of it.
Of
And,
course you
here's
did.
the
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
It's not an amazing beer, but
It's
it
a
ain't bad.
good beer.
And at $4 a 6-pack,
Yeah.
I drank about 4 cases of it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Not all at once.
That's good to know.
2 sessions. But anyway, you get the idea.
It's good to know you exercise restraint.
Discretion.
I think that's important.
But yeah,
no,
I mean,
you're
so
100%
it's
right,
funny
though.
because you really do got to know your demographic, and in my neighborhood, I will tell you that if you walk into the HEB, there are about 6 doors of Miller Lite and 6 doors of Bud Light,
And see, here's what's
and
interesting
there's
to me.
one door and maybe a half of craft beer, and most of that is Carbach.
I will tell you, though, that now, if you walk into, say, the Specs in Midtown, and this has shifted over the years, there's basically only 2 cooler doors with Bud Light.
Right.
Then there's another couple of cooler doors with the quote-unquote imports, the Coronas and the Dos Equis and those beers, right? And then the rest of it, which
It's all
still is
craft.
way more than half of the cooler
Yeah.
doors, is all craft. And it's amazing. Now, in fairness, Carbach is included in that.
Yeah.
Carbach, for those of you who aren't from our area, Karbach was our local craft brewery that got bought by Anheuser-Busch. And so they have a real leg up in terms of distribution because of the because of the muscle of Anheuser-Busch. And their beers are not bad. They really aren't. They're not my favorite, but they're not bad. I will say, went back to an Astros game. My brother came to town last week, and we went to an Astros game, and I was so excited because the place, he had bought the tickets and he gifted us the tickets, but the place that the seats were, there was a St. Arnold booth right there. I was so excited because there's Karbach all over the place.
I always have to be like between like first base and right field there.
Yeah.
Because and then like on the second or third floor is where it is.
Exactly where I was.
Oh man,
exactly
because that's where the good beer place is.
Right.
There's a St. Arnold's one, and then there's a little store, like a little convenience store where you can go in and get your own beer.
There you go. Well,
they have good beers.
I will say I really enjoyed some Summer Pills while I was there. That was a perfect beer for baseball.
I've been drinking much Summer Pills.
That was a perfect beer for baseball. We got to have our friends from St. Arnold back on again.
Yeah,
that's just such a good brewery, man. It'd
be interesting to see who we have next.
Yeah,
because we've had them on 3 times now.
And it's been a different person every time. Yeah, I'd love to get Brock on.
Man, that'd be great.
That'd
be amazing.
I'd love to get him on. I know he does some of these type of things, but he's obviously fairly busy. So there's that. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We ran a little long with the first segment, so we'll even that out here. We'll take a break, and we will come back. When we do, we're going to do just a little more beer tasting. This time, we're going to drink us some damaged fruit. Not damaged, just a little
imperfect produce.
Imperfect, yes. It's the Citrus Rescue beer. It's the IPA from New Belgium Brewing Company. We will taste it next. Welcome back. It is Smokin' and Toastin'. Our program's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. It's show number 293. We'll be ranking the best drinks made with whiskey on today's program, and talking, of course, about some pretty exciting cigars that are coming out that you want to be on the lookout for. Drinking news is still ahead of us. That has proven, for some unfathomable reason, to be the most popular part of the show. So it's why we save it for later to try to get you to trick you into staying with us, listening and watching for longer. But anyway, we're excited to get to that. So during the break, I was pulling out the can of Citrus Rescue Citrus IPA from New Belgium, and Ian rightly informs me, I think we've had this one on the show before. And so I did a quick little search of my notes, and sure enough, I think we had it on show number 278. So we'll be tasting it again.
And that's okay.
And
if I remember correctly, we really liked it.
Well, I've had some of this at home, and I can tell you, I can already tell you
I'm
I
almost
liked
positive that after we tried it that first time, I went home, or on my way home, I picked some up.
But it's a very interesting IPA because it's not necessarily, I'm not going to say it's not hazy at all, but that's not its primary characteristic. It's more of a citrusy flavor than it is trying to be a juicy IPA, and so I don't know. It's just interesting. I'd say open it up and let's
I love
have
on the
one
can
again
too. They have a orange on it that's kind of funky looking. It's got some googly eyes.
Yeah, and of course they are using Citrus Rescue produce. So.
And then on the other side of the can, they have it kind of in a different position, looking all googly eyed.
He's looking
and
all
fun.
he's looking all shy and
put that in the camera.
Kind of a
there.
Mr. Potato Head of.
So you can see it in the picture over here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm doing this. I know Adam's going to put it some other place.
That's what makes it fun. Yeah. Adam is our producer in the cloud, and so he's the one that gets the show ready for air. So, that was a particularly good one.
That's pretty good, right?
Adam, if you were recording there, you may want to save that one for future use. You could dub it in when we get a disappointing can open sound effect, along with
whenever we get to the point where we have to actually edit any curse words, we can use that sound.
Oh, can be what replaces the curse word? You stupid. Yeah, I like that. That works for me. So I will admit, yes, I do like this beer a lot, but we will taste it and talk about it, even though that is already
here's the deal. It's okay to talk about a beer more than once.
Yeah.
I have no problems with that.
The only thing I'm a little embarrassed about is that it wasn't something we did a long time ago. It was maybe like 15, 20 shows ago. I should remember that.
Here's the thought process. We're at 290 what?
293 as of today.
Times 3 beers minimum per show.
Right.
That's a lot of beers, buddy. We've tried
It really is.
a lot
Please,
of beers.
If my doctor is listening,
Stop
just
listening.
Stop listening. Yeah, please, just stop listening. They always ask you, how much do you drink? And I think they must know that everyone rounds that down to at least some degree.
They probably have a chart.
Yeah.
If he says 1 drink per day, it's 6.
Right,
If
exactly,
he says,
right.
oh, I have a glass of wine.
Yeah,
a
bottle.
It's a
of wine.
bottle.
Yeah, right, exactly.
1 glass equals 1 bottle.
No, that's 100% true. It's 100% true and accurate. All right, so Citrus Rescue. I love New Belgium Brewing, by the way. I think these guys really know what
we
they're
had
doing.
we had the one of the Voodoo Ranger series on not too long ago too.
Okay,
their beers are just.
I'm
their
just going
beers
to
are
tell you,
just solid.
you know, of course, that I am an IPA fan. Mm-hmm. I have discovered the Voodoo Ranger 12-pack.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all IPAs, but it's like 4 different ones.
Yeah.
And I've been buying that lately, and they're all so good. Oh, my gosh. I figured it out, actually. I was doing an Amazon grocery delivery. For the first time I'd done one from Amazon, right? Because I'm so disgusted with DoorDash that I'll never use them again. They suck. But anyway, I was trying out Amazon's grocery delivery because they had something that I wanted and I was going to get it. And it was the type of thing that if you spent $35, the delivery was free. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, is there anything else I need? I'm looking through trying to see if I can get to $35 without buying something ridiculous. And I was like, I wonder if they have craft beer. I searched craft beer, and sure enough, there was the Voodoo Ranger pack. I'm like, yes.
He shoots, he scores.
Yes. So that was what got me started on them, and then I've been buying them ever since. They're just all of those IPAs are wonderful. This one's not in it, by the way, but
this is this is not in the Voodoo Ranger line. But the Voodoo Ranger line is very much more starting off with a traditional IPA kind of base, and then going from there.
You know what this beer reminds me of? When you get like a fresh squeezed orange juice, and there has been no sweetening,
no sugar added.
Yeah, no sweetening added. So it's got almost a little bit of
like when you go to Harry's.
Yeah. It's got almost a little bit of sour citrus to it. It's not a hard sour, but it's just a little bit of that bitter citrus bitter to it. That's what this reminds me of. It's very authentically orange.
Yeah.
Not
Harry's restaurant or cafeteria or whatever it is.
Cafe,
you know what I'm talking
about?
Yeah. Harry's Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
That place is so good. Like they have a little machine that they just stick the oranges in. They kind of don't have to stick them in. When you order orange juice, it is literally right from the orange. It's awesome.
Right. So that makes me think of going to brunch, which I'll tell you a quick story while we're enjoying the Citrus Rescue, which, by the way, fantastic. Buy it.
Absolutely
it's
fantastic.
Wonderful. It's just got such a real citrus taste to it. It's not like a sweetened
and it's
out
not a
citrus
big
taste.
over-the-top IPA flavor either, so it's not like a super
Right,
hop
there's no
bomb.
hop
It's
bitter on it,
definitely
yeah.
it's definitely there, but it's like
Really
orange
good.
with some hop and
So-
beer. It's good.
So speaking of brunch, do you know who Bun B is? Mm-hmm. So he's like Houston rapper, right?
Right. Port Arthur, I think, actually.
Yeah,
but
right.
Okay.
Houston area. Sure,
I
yeah.
never heard him.
Yeah, he is. So he's a very nice guy. I've met him. He on the side has been doing these little pop-up burger stands.
Nice.
And he was recently, his burger, they're called Trill Burger, right? His burger was recently named the best burger in America by, I think, Good Morning America, I think is who it was. I may have that wrong, but it's something like that, right? Named Bun B's Trill Burger the best burger in America. So, of course,
Holy cow.
this makes the news, right? And he's working on opening up an actual standalone restaurant. But all he's done so far is just like little Trill Burger pop-ups, and people find out they're there and they come. So yesterday, or Sunday, rather, was a Trill Burger pop-up at noon at 8th Wonder. Now, 8th Wonder's brewing really close to my house.
Yeah.
Love going there. You and I have gone there for
Wish
cigars
I'd
and
have
beers.
known.
Well, actually, yeah, probably best that you didn't. I get in the car. I got up early enough to get everything done so my wife and I could go over there. We drive over there at like a little before noon, right?
Oh, is it a
it's
total
noon?
madhouse?
It's noon to 3, I think, but it's only while they last. The line stretched way out in back of Eighth Wonder. And I think we actually got there just a little bit after noon, so the doors had opened at noon. So what that meant is that Eighth Wonder was already full to capacity.
Wow.
And they were waiting to let people in to come and get their Trill burgers. And I bailed.
Yeah.
Because it was there was no way to stand in that line except right in the middle of the sun.
And
I
it's
just didn't
too
want
hot.
to. It's too hot. Yeah. So we went someplace and had a burger. But I've yet
Besides,
to
at some point in
taste
time,
the Trill
the hype
burger.
will settle down.
Yeah, but I really want to try one because
Yeah.
I love Bun B. He's just such a cool guy and so talented. But to be named the best burger in America,
That's pretty wild.
that's pretty cool. Yeah. So here's to you, Bun B. Even though we haven't tasted the burger, we're going to take it on faith. And I don't know why I told that. Oh, we were talking about brunch, so it just made me think of Sunday brunch. So Ian and I are going to do a thing here where we're going to try to go out on Tuesday evenings to a local craft brewery every week, or nearly every week, and just talk to them about their beer, see if we maybe do a quick little segment there, and invite them to be on the show, and then drink.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So there's so many, we've mentioned this before in the show, but the Houston area, which is where we do the show, there's over 60 craft breweries in the greater Houston area.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yep.
We could be doing this forever, and we want to expand. So if you've got a great craft brewery in your area, invite us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let us know.
we'd love the road trip. We dig it. This is I'm going to say it's a really exceptional beer.
This is good. It's really, really good. If you want a good summery beer with some orange fruit,
Yeah,
and it's nice and crisp, it's pretty fantastic. It is.
really is.
It is. What did I say? 6.5%.
So
It's
right in
a-
that forgotten area.
Yeah,
of
India Pale
ABV.
Ale with orange juice, orange peel, and natural flavors.
You can definitely tell it has orange peel. That's part of what gives
Yeah.
it that sort of natural orange flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Recommended highly. Buy some. I got to pick up more of these. I had held on to this one because I didn't think we had it on the show. And now I
I'm glad
realized-
you brought it. I'm okay with that. It's delicious.
Okay, good. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, some cigars to watch for. We're that much closer to drinking news, and we still are going to share with you a ranking of the best drinks made with whiskey. We're looking forward to that. That's coming up. Plus, we taste a little tequila coming up next on
Nice.
Smoking and Toasting.
In the beginning. In the beginning.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Show number
Sounds good.
293, which puts us officially halfway to 333.
333 it is.
Which that's going to be the big celebration is 333. So we're looking forward to that.
That's a
We're very
ridiculous
excited
thing,
about
but we're kind of ridiculous people, so I think I'm okay
it. I
with
think
that.
it works. Ian, do letters and numbers have colors to you?
Only in my experimental years.
Do they have taste and smell?
I haven't noticed that.
Do you taste in terms of blue and red?
Not usually.
Well, anyone that does may have, this is a real thing, a condition called synesthesia. And the newest blend from Osgener Family Cigars, the people who started CAO before they sold it, plays on this theme in much the same way. The cigar is called Pi Synesthesia, not pi like pi r round,
Pi like-
but pi like pi r squared. It's an
I think your
art-
English is a little off there.
I think it may be.
Pi is squared.
I'm just saying. Anyway, it's an art-inspired smoke with a label that was modeled after a painting by Kano Osgener, the late Kano Osgener, the talented and creative founder of CAO Cigars and Tim Osgenger's father. The correlation between colors and numbers always appealed to my father, Tim said. He's the president of Osgener Family Cigars. He always thought pi was an interesting number because it was infinite. We decided, in his honor, to add another element to this construct, and that's taste. Thus, the Pi Synesthesia cigar was born.
It occurs to me that I did lie about tasting colors because when you refer to things like Gatorade or Kool-Aid, the flavors are actually red,
Oh yeah.
purple,
Oh yeah. That's a good point.
lemon lime, oddly enough,
Yeah, right. Which isn't
and
yeah,
orange,
right.
which
you don't taste green, but you definitely taste red and purple. Those are tastes and colors. So
like, no one
100%.
asked for fruit punch.
Right,
Give me
right.
red or give me
Right.
purple.
Exactly. Around 2015, a few years before Kano passed away, he created an abstract painting that was meant to ascribe colors to numbers and their infinite combinations. A mini reproduction of that painting is the band of these new Pi
That's pretty
Synesthesia
cool.
cigars. It's a one-size line that measures 6 inches by a 52 ring gauge, and their limited edition Toros come in boxes of 12. So Osner, Tim, was excited to return to the cigar industry after a long hiatus, and according to him, this cigar is supposed to taste yellow if you do, in fact, have synesthesia.
All right, I know that's a song, but it makes me want to like scratch people's eyes out when I hear it.
Well, I'm just saying, if you smoke one of these and you don't have synesthesia,
I don't mind yellow, just don't play the song while we're talking about it.
Oh, well, there's a better song. It's called Synesthesia, and it's by Andrew McMahon. But that's
All right.
that's a different thing. Anyway, the point is, if you don't have this condition or gift or whatever you want to call it, you can still smoke one of these,
And just think yellow.
and you can understand what yellow tastes like, if that makes sense.
I wonder if that's setting up for a series of cigars. Like, what would blue taste like? What would
I don't know, but it sounds
green
awesome.
taste like?
It sounds
What
like
would-
an.
That's a really fun.
I would try every
theme
one
to
of them.
have.
Yeah, cigars are $15 by the time they reach the market, probably this month or early next. Only 2,500 boxes though are being released, so you will have to kind of jump on if you see them.
one
You want to try them.
ASAP.
Yeah, get one ASAP. No word yet as to when the next Pi Synesthesia will be introduced or what color it will taste.
You know what
like.
I really like?
What?
Vanilla and pepper.
Yeah, I'm a fan of both vanilla and pepper.
Yeah, that's what this
That's
tequila
what this
tastes
tequila
like.
is. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Vanilla.
I wouldn't know.
And I just poured really heavy, guys.
Yeah.
Vanilla and pepper. Wow. In like the best possible way.
Yeah. You know, it's what's interesting to me about this tequila, having actually already tasted this, but I'm confirming it now, is you get a very big pepper. You get a really nice. You get a first taste of vanilla, and
But
then
it's
a little
not a
on the
super
finish.
spicy pepper.
No,
it's
no.
so much pepper, but it's the
It's not like
the
Hornitos,
nose
which
of
is
the
spicier.
pepper. It's not
Right.
it's not the spicy like pepper burn on the palate.
But what's interesting though is that the finish is so buttery
Yeah.
that it almost keeps this. It reminds me a little of the Skelly in a way because it has almost no discernible heat on the finish.
No, the heat itself comes as a very friendly little hug afterwards, and a little ways afterwards.
A little
too.
ways afterwards, it's almost dangerous in that way. Yeah, actually,
There's a lot of times when we taste liquors. I always think to myself, what would this taste like with a little splash of water? I don't even want to do that with this.
No, you don't want to
This
dilute
is
this at all.
so
do you?
nice,
Yeah, and
right
it's
out
so-
of the bottle.
It's so easy to drink too. Some tequilas are not easy to drink. They're delicious, but not necessarily easy to take them down.
Don
you know what I mean?
Cosme Anejo is a rich blend of cooked agave and oak with a hint of chocolate. I go with that. Light fruit and raisins.
Mm-hmm.
Our complex recipe evokes notes of vanilla and caramel and lends itself to a savoring sip by sip.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, that's it's pretty darn good. They have some interesting stuff. Made in Jalisco, Mexico. 48 to 60 hours fermentation, pot still distillation, and 12 plus months aging.
Right. So that's pretty long, even for an añejo. So
Yeah, because I think you only need what 3 months. No, 3 months is reposado, right?
I think it's 6 months for
so
an añejo.
6 to 8 months, I think. Yeah.
I think this is really good, and this is the first time I've actually. I don't know how long this has been available. It's the first time I've spotted it on the shelf. When I say
Mexico-
available, I mean available in my store. So.
Mexico is home to tequila, the iconic and formidable Chihuahua, and some. That's why they have the Chihuahua.
I love that Chihuahua.
Okay, let me start here. Mexico is home to tequila, the iconic and formidable Chihuahua, and some of the largest fiestas on earth, inspired by Mexican artistry. The spirit of all three are captured in the Don Cosme flavored dog, which features the unique notes and aromas of our handcrafted tequila. I see what's going on here. So they made the dog, and they put all the different things, the fruit and the caramel,
are the colors of his
and the
his appearance there. So
yeah,
show
the
that back to
chocolate
the,
and everything
show
like
that
that.
back
Let's
to
get
the
that
camera.
close to the camera so we can get a
Yeah, there you go.
really nice
So
shot.
so yeah, so you can see all that stuff in the picture of the dog, which is kind of
That's
cool.
pretty neat, right?
The Chihuahua.
Made in Jalisco, Mexico, our 100% agave azul recipes have been handed down through the generations, but the legend of agave dates back to the Aztecas. The Aztecas believed the agave plant was a gift from the gods, and dogs guided their ancestral spirit to their final resting place. Oh, they're tying it all together. That's really nice. Celebrating our love of Mexico, tequila, and our canine companions, we bless the souls of our ancestors and applaud the master distillers of Mexico that keep the spirit of Don Cosme tequila alive. From our family to yours, please drink responsibly.
You know what I like best about that Chihuahua?
What's that?
His silence. That really works for me. You know what I'm saying? No, what I like best really is the tequila that he represents.
Tequila's real
I think
good.
this is real good. La Gloria Cubana has gone to Mexico. We're talking a lot about Mexico. For the first time in the brand's history, La Glorias are now offered in a dark Mexican San Andres wrapper. And they are heading to retailers. They actually started going to retailers last week, showcasing a dark cover leaf from Mexico. The La Gloria Cubana Serie S consists of a Nicaraguan binder around a filler blend of Nicaraguan and Dominican tobacco. The cigars are made in the DR at El Credito, a rolling gallery located within the General Cigar Dominicana factory that is dedicated entirely to the La Gloria brand. The new Series S is intended to be medium to full-bodied in strength, and it comes in three, as you would expect, thick sizes. The Robusto Gordo measuring 5.5 by 56, the 6 by 60 Gigante, and the Presidente at 7 by 56. So there's your inner tube float down the river cigar.
I am totally in on that. I totally want to try it.
By the way, these cigars, these three sizes I just described, $7.99, $8.49, and $8.99.
I've had their Gigante before,
yeah.
and that's the name of that particular size.
It's pretty.
I have no idea where the name came from.
They have, they really do have great cigars. I mean, that's a solid.
And
cigar
have
company. Yes,
been for years and years
solid.
and years and years.
Great way to
I will
describe
tell you, I remember my first Gloria Cubana Serie R. I remember it because I was not prepared for that big of a cigar. Not size big, but flavor and punch. That's
a monster.
Like when I very first smoked one, I was like, whoo.
Yep, that's a
That
monster.
had me sweating a little bit.
In April, Pete Johnson, who's the owner of Tatuaje, announced that the three previous Tatuaje releases, the Avion 18? No, 13, I'm sorry. Avion 13, Tatuaje 7th, and the Tatuaje T10 would ship to stores with Mexican San Andres wrappers for the first time. You sense a theme in my cigar news here? Of things to
seeing
watch for. Considering the wrapper choice, it is no great surprise that he chose the moniker Tuxita, since the San Andres Tuxita is the name of the city and municipality that's host to the vast majority of Mexico's premium
How do
cigar
you spell that?
industry. T-U-X? I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. It's Tuxtla.
I actually reviewed one of those
Tuxtla.
just recently, the Tuxtla.
Yeah, the Tuxtla. I'm excited for people to try these cigars, Pete Johnson said when he announced the series in April. The San Andres wrapper really shows how much that the wrapper can change the flavor of the cigar. We are very particular when using San Andres, making sure we use it on blends that can stand up to the heavier flavor. I think these blends work perfectly. So those are all some cigars you may want to be watching for. We like to
I actually
bring
reviewed
things
one of
to
those
your
just
to your
recently.
attention. The Tuxtla you did a review on, didn't you?
I did. I gave it a 6.
And if I read all of this correctly, the price is about $12.50 on these cigars. Is that?
Mine was $10.
Oh, well, you
That was
got
it.
it from a good
I got it
place.
at Casa.
Oh, there you go, Casa. Here's to Casa. I noticed you poured some more of this tequila, and I thank you, my good friend.
Your tequila cup was broken.
Yeah, it had a
It
hole.
has
apparently,
these
in it.
evaporative properties.
This is also one of those tequilas And there are several that I have in my bar that are like this.
It's really crazy. Whenever I turn the cup this way, it's like it just evaporates
Yeah,
out.
I know it happens. It happens. This is one of those tequilas. I have several in my bar like this. That the flavor gets more and more interesting as you go.
So
I don't mean to say that the more you drink, the better you like it, but that's absolutely true.
it mentioned it on the bottle, the caramel, and a lot of times, sometimes you'll not recognize a flavor, or you'll start looking for that flavor once you hear it. But it took me quite a few sips to start getting that caramel. Mm-hmm. And now that I have it in my palate, it's unmistakable.
Right? It's absolutely there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not. But I agree,
get the
sometimes it
chocolate.
takes
I don't get a
little
lot
while.
of the fruity notes. Well, I guess they say the fruity is in the aroma. The oakiness
I
is
can
definitely
get a little like citrus zest though, like a little orange zest, maybe.
maybe on the finish.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm just capitulating. I don't know.
Could be. All right, I'm looking for my list here. I apologize. Sometimes I have to
The
scan.
list.
Yeah, I'm looking for my list because we need to get to this in this segment because next segment, of course, we have drinking news, and you never know. Like all hell could break loose, and we could be, stuck with that for a while. So here we go.
That's me
perfect.
giving you some
Some
time there.
stall time.
I was
appreciate
being
that.
your Paul Schaefer for
You
a
were-
moment there.
Except you would have said
see, I'm
something.
showing my age again.
Yeah, except you would, and I would
I
mind
should
as
have
well.
said Questlove. That would be
Yeah,
a little more
right, see, exactly.
filling in the time.
but if you were really doing Paul Schaefer, you would have said, "We love the lists" or something like that to go with your to go with your thing. Okay, the 20 best drinks to mix with whiskey ranked. This is from a publication I was not familiar with prior to this list, but it looks like a pretty reputable thing. They're called Tasting Table. So we'll run down these 20, and you tell me. I'm just going to go down the list. You tell me if you want me to stop and give you more information
All right.
on each one. Okay, number 20, and I would have just kicked this one off the list because I have no interest in this. I have negative interest in this. But number 20 is beet juice.
Pass.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
Yeah. I don't need to ruin a good whiskey. with
Producers
beet
making
juice.
bad faces. Hard pass.
Number 19, though, I'll go with you on this one: club soda or seltzer.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, that can be a good thing. Beet juice.
That's if club soda or seltzer. Like, so the club soda does add a little bit of its own flavor, a little bitter,
Yes, yeah.
and those kind of things like that. But if you just want something to have a little fizz to it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Now, number 18 is tonic. So, can you help me understand the difference between soda and tonic as it
maybe
relates
I have
to a
that backwards.
cocktail?
Okay, so one of them is just carbonated water. As far
Right,
as
that
I
would be
understand.
soda, basically.
Okay, that's club
Yeah.
soda. So no flavor difference with soda, just carbonated water. Tonic has the bitter kind of flavor to it, and it's just as far as I know, it's just used as a base for your mixed drinks.
I think that's right, yes. Sorry, I had to grab a little battery here.
Man, those little battery banks, man. I bought one the other day, and it's like 20,000 milliamps.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they're
Like
amazing.
it charges my phone and my giant iPad, and still has.
I had one
juice
on
left.
my iPad, but it was it ran out of juice, and I've been using it all day. So, apologies. So tonic though has a little bit of that.
So it has
flavor.
a bitter, like you don't really want to drink tonic on its own.
Right. Oh no, absolutely. That's 100%. Whereas you could drink a soda, club soda. on
Club
its own.
soda on its own is just fizzy water.
Also, tonic, not necessarily what you want to use to get a stain out of your jacket. Club soda will work for that. Number 17 on the list is milk.
Okay.
Do you do any cocktails that we?
So
you put milk
one
into?
year I went dressed as the dude for Halloween, and I drank
Brilliant.
White Russians all night.
Okay, and how did that work out for you?
Well, that night it was fine. The
Yeah,
next
the next
morning it was
morning,
a
yeah.
little bit curdled in the stomach.
And it's because of the milk that one is
Yeah.
such a tough thing to.
So I don't
rebound
know.
from,
Like
right?
I guess in small portions it's probably fine, and I can see how it like makes things a little creamier and like that. You know.
Did you abide?
I did abide.
Yeah,
I
that's
did
good to
abide.
know.
I had
good to
quite a
know.
good time. I had my buddy Walter that was dressed as Walter,
I love that.
and he looked like it. I mean, he
Yeah,
was
that's
perfect.
so
He had the
great.
yellow
I love
shooting
it.
glasses and everything. It was
I
amazing.
love it. What a great movie. By the way, it have to stop. Jeff Bridges, one of my favorite actors in the world. If you have not watched season 1 of The Old Man, it's on FX.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's on FX. I saw it on Hulu. Dude, Jeff Bridges is that's all I can say. He's the man.
He's pretty amazing.
He is the man. And The Old Man is a wonderful sort of spy thriller / I don't know what you would call it. It's just
I'll
good.
have to put that on my list.
Check it out, The Old Man. It is wonderful. Jeff Bridges is wonderful. Number 16, coconut water. Now, these are not cocktails that we're giving you. These are things to put in.
Like I say, some
whiskey.
people don't like coconut water. It has a very polarizing flavor, I think. I like coconut water. I think it's fine.
You know what? The problem that I have with it is I cannot get it in America. Okay, I lost you on that, didn't I?
Yes.
Bring me coconut water. Cannot get in America. So now I've really shown my
That
age.
song is a little dated.
I like old songs. I just have to say that. Pineapple juice. Now, Keegan, engineer, is just, he's got that sideways head like, okay, that was
Yeah, I'm not
way,
for
way
pineapple
off.
juice and whiskey.
Pineapple
I can see
juice.
it going in some mixed drinks, but like if you're talking about literally just mixing these things,
With whiskey, right.
I thought you were talking about like as a component to a mixed drink.
a component to a cocktail, though. Let's say that.
That's a component to a cocktail. I can see that. Pineapple's
Right.
fruity, you know.
Yeah, and
I could also see there are certain whiskeys that would clash with that. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to say just whiskey in general, like which whiskey.
Because like this next one, I would never think of putting this and whiskey alone. But there are some whiskey cocktails that could use it very effectively, and that's number 14, cranberry juice.
Right.
Cranberry juice and whiskey by itself, I think would be nasty. Cranberry juice and vodka, okay, gotcha. I'm with you. Those two are just fine together all by themselves. But with whiskey, I don't know. But I could see it being used in a cocktail with other ingredients, though, and it would be fun.
I don't know. What's a Manhattan?
What's a Manhattan? Do you know? I mean, I've had them before, but I don't remember what they're made of.
I don't remember either.
Okay,
But it's something like
somebody
that.
help us in the show notes. We appreciate it. Number 13, grapefruit juice.
And whiskey?
Yeah.
No, I'm pass.
They say in the article, we can't lie to you, this mix is intense, but it truly rewards the bold. So John just handed me his phone. What is a Manhattan drink made of? 2 parts whiskey, 1 part sweet vermouth, and bitters. So that sounds better to me than cranberry juice. Pickle brine is number 12.
I've seen people use
Would you do pickle brine and whiskey?
Not mixed. I've seen people do that as a chaser. I'm not a big fan. Like, I like pickles. I like them with food. I like them on burgers. I like them even by themselves sometimes if they're particularly good. But I would not mix pickle. I don't like pickle drinks at all. Pickle beers,
I don't
to
like the
me,
pickle beers, yeah.
are just not one of my favorites. Sometimes they're interesting. There's
Yeah.
some better than others, but they're just
True.
not my thing.
Yeah, and I'm really weird about pickles in the sense that I don't like them on my burger. I like them on the side.
So I'm the same way with tomatoes. Like, I like the pickles on the burger,
Yeah?
but I order a burger with tomatoes just so I can take the tomatoes out and eat them by themselves.
So you don't want that flavor
I don't
in
want
the
it, no, 'cause-
middle of your burger.
Because when the tomato's on the burger, a lot of times all I can taste is a tomato at that point.
That's just like relish on hot dogs. Like, I don't mind the relish flavor, but I don't want it taking over my hot dog.
See, relish to me, it has to be dill pickle relish, not sweet relish. I don't like sweet relish
Yeah, I don't
at
like
all.
sweet relish either.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. Drinking vinegar is number 11. Are you aware of what drinking vinegar
Let me
actually
just
is?
pass on that.
Okay,
one.
yeah, I'm gonna pass on it as well. Number 10, and I would have thought this would have been way higher on the list. Cola, as in Coke.
Yeah.
like whiskey and Coke,
I mean,
Jack and Coke
what do you pour
without
into
the
your
Jack.
into your old granddad? Or
Yeah,
whatever?
right. It says here, as explained by the Whiskeypedia, the mixture of these two makes a smooth blend of sweet and sour without compromising either, with the cola helping
No,
to
whiskey
highlight
Coke
whiskey's
is fine.
oaky flavors. Yeah. While Whiskeypedia believes that Jack Daniel's whiskey truly is the perfect cola partner, Bourbon and Banter disagrees, observing that though different bourbons will change the drink's profile, flavor profile slightly, in general, any bourbon will give you an enjoyable.
Okay, so I was actually just about to interrupt you with that. Was Jack Daniel's by itself, the old number 7, the black label, is nasty.
Yes, I'm not a fan.
Like, it's disgusting.
Now, they make some
Everything
other
else
whiskeys
they make
that are fantastic.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's like they just make this one terrible thing, but it is the profile you expect when you think of a whiskey and Coke.
That's true.
Like-
There's a reason that Jack and Coke
Now,
is what
Jim
people
Beam also does well in Coke and is also pretty nasty by itself.
Agreed.
But again, much like Jack Daniels, almost everything else they make is fantastic.
fantastic.
So it's crazy. But when you get into like a higher price stuff, I was hanging out at my brother's house. This was 10 years ago almost. I was hanging out at my brother's house, and he was inviting some friends over. He goes, I need to have something that's at a decent price point, but so they're not trying to mix my scotch with Coke. So we tipped up to the local store and bought a couple bottles of a pretty inexpensive whiskey to look pretty good. It was called Eagle Rare. Mm-hmm. And that's what we brought back.
Holy cow, that's a great whiskey.
That's what we brought back as our mixer. And then we tasted it. We're like, wow, this is really good. But it was it was like $25 10 years ago, like for a bottle.
Good luck
of it.
finding it for that now. Good luck actually
Not even
finding
close.
it. Yeah.
But like that was a secret that I held on to for a while, man. I was like, Eagle Rare.
Sometimes we have to keep these things to ourselves.
But yeah, so like you never know. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. There was a point to that, but I don't remember what it was.
Number 9 on the list is apple cider. Number 8 on the list is Mountain Dew.
That's if you want heartburn.
Yeah, I'm not.
Can I just have heartburn? Whiskey
I just
with
say-
a heartburn chaser?
I don't know of anything that I would want to mix Mountain Dew with. You know what? Like maybe whiskey would help it. I don't know. Doesn't seem like my thing. Drambuie is number 7, or Irish Mist. It's a whiskey adjacent spirit.
Okay,
That makes
yeah, I
some
mean,
sense,
it
yeah.
adds some sweetness to it. I can see that.
What about number 6, vermouth?
I mean, a little shot of vermouth in there just to change the profile of the whiskey?
Yeah.
Maybe. It depends on which whiskey you're having.
Did I
See,
tell you-
again, whiskeys, they just use the word whiskey, but like what,
Right.
you know, if it's a bad whiskey, maybe you need that. I don't know.
Maybe the vermouth would help. So I've been making, what I call vodka martinis. I know you have another name for them, but I've been making them lately with olives that have been soaking in vermouth,
You told me about that.
and it has taken my martini game up a notch.
I'm going to try that.
It's just that little hint. You remember when Chris Morris was on the show? We were doing the martini show. And he was saying, I said, how much vermouth should you use? And he gave us 2 things. Number 1, which was vermouth is a wine, so it goes bad. So you need to
Yes.
use a fresh vermouth. That was his first thing. But the other thing was that he said his perfect amount of vermouth for a martini was to take the spoon, stick it in the vermouth, let it drip for a second, and then just swizzle it in. Like only as much as would coat the
tiny
spoon.
bit. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people I see what they do is they pour just a couple bits of vermouth into the glass and dump it out.
Right, and then it's only just what's left
Yeah,
on
it's
the
just
side
what
of
the
glass.
residue left on the glass,
That
and
makes
that's all
some
these.
sense. Well, I can tell you these olives in vermouth, there's just enough vermouth. First of all, not only does it, I think, make the martini better, but the olives themselves are delicious.
Fox and Seeker.
Delicious. Oh, Fox and Seeker's a great way to go.
Fox and Seeker, I have that barrel rested gin. Mm-hmm. I also have some blue cheese stuffed olives.
Dude.
And I will tell you, when you do a barrel rested gin, you don't want to add a bunch of dirtiness to it because
Right,
it's it's already dirty. It's a dark color. It's almost a brown liquid at that point. But those blue cheese covered olives in that barrel rested gin as a martini, whoa, this is something special.
Yeah, you're 100%. I get it. The other thing I'll just say about vermouth is that that's one of the ingredients of the Manhattan. If
Yeah.
you make the typical Manhattan, so that's a very popular drink. Number 5 on the list is coffee.
I've seen that.
Whiskey cocktails with coffee.
And Joe Breda brought that coffee whiskey that he made.
Right, I remember that,
was
yeah.
actually kind of pleasant.
Number 4 is lemonade.
I've heard of that. That's what's that called? That's called a
Sugar and charm. Just a whiskey spiked lemonade,
whiskey
I guess.
and lemonade. This is
Does it have a name?
yes, it's called a.
Lemon juice by itself.
There's a name for it. It's a
Okay.
I'm almost there.
All right. Well, while we wait on that, I think John is looking that up on the portable internet
There's a name
device.
for it. I'm so
All right.
close.
Number 3 is tea. Hot toddies have been made from, forever. But it hit its stride in the 18th
Lynchburg
century.
lemonade.
Oh, Lynchburg lemonade?
Isn't that what it's
Is that what
called?
it's called? I think that may be right. I think that may be right. So tea is number 3. And number 2, this is interesting to me that this is the size. Root beer. Because this is a ranked list. Remember, this is not like a random list.
Like
but
more people?
I don't know if they're saying it's more popular. They're saying it's better.
Oh, gotcha. So they tried everything.
I have to try whiskey and root beer. I don't think I've tried that.
We're going to need to get a list of ingredients
Yeah,
and
for
some
sure.
whiskey.
They say, forget pickle brine, root beer will likely be the most divisive placing on our list since cola landed right in the middle. But they say everyone who protests the superiority of whiskey and root beer probably doesn't like root beer. So they're saying if you like root beer, your
I will tell
whiskey and
you.
root beer is the
I will
thing.
tell you if you're drinking whiskey, I'll tell you one that's actually real good
Yeah?
is ginger ale.
And that's number 1.
Are you serious?
Number 1 on the list. There it is. I
I
showed it
had
to you
no
right
idea.
there. Ginger ale, baby. Oh.
Ginger ale
I
is
just bumped
actually
it back
oddly
to
good
the top.
with
Yeah,
whiskey.
with whiskey, yeah. And there you go. That's our list of the best ingredients in whiskey cocktails. So if you're looking at whiskey cocktails, and there's so many of them on the internet, you can look.
Well, I can't believe they left mayonnaise off.
Well, mayonnaise or Miracle Whip.
Mayonnaise and scotch, man.
That is just disgusting. All right. Speaking of disgusting, we're going to take a break and we'll come back with our favorite segment, our most popular segment, ladies and gentlemen. On the way is Drinking News. Plus, as if that weren't exciting enough, we're going to break into the Deschutes Black Butte 31 31st birthday porter. I think that got a better little thing out of you than Drinking News. We'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars, all things that we love to partake of and imbibe in and talk about.
Those are beautiful things.
That's why we're here. Our program, though, also has several other features, and one of the features that has become surprisingly popular is a little something where we bring you a story, something from the news. These are not stories from the Onion, so they're stories that at least are purported to be true. And truth is often stranger than fiction, and that is probably the general theme of the segment we like to call Drinking News.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news, drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Well, just a quick reminder about Drinking News that these are stories, again, that we find them out there in the world of news somewhere, and they're stories that are sometimes, but not always, about drinking. Another really good one, by the way. But these
I do my best.
these are consistently stories that are probably best enjoyed if you have been drinking. And we're about to do some more of that here, I believe. All right, here at Drinking News, we like to think of ourselves as a bit avant-garde, as forward thinkers. But the truth is that no matter how forward-thinking we may see ourselves, we've got nothing on the late Catarina Orduña Perez from the small town of Misantla
That's easy for you to say.
in the eastern state of Veracruz, Mexico. Before her death at 99 years old, Catarina, or Doña Cata, as she was lovingly known throughout the small town where she lived, told her grandson, Mota Limon, about a bold request that she had. At first, he thought she was just kidding, just being the fun-loving, crazy grandma that they all knew and loved. But according to Limon, she told him, and I'm quoting here, that it was her desire so that no one would ever forget her, and that everything we loved about her would be remembered more easily. End of quote. After Doña Cata's death, and doesn't Doña Cata sound like like Dua Lipa's sister or something. After Doña Cata's death on January the 20th of last year, Limon says, we talked as a family and decided to make her dream come true. And while it took a while to put the process in motion, Mota Limon called a local engineer in town who builds plastic products like water tanks and children's play sets, and asked if the man was up to the challenge. At first, I thought it was a joke, the engineer told Vice News, because it's not very common to see these kinds of sculptures or monuments, and even less so in the memory of someone who's deceased. Her family unveiled the completed monument, mounted on her tomb at a cemetery in Mexico this past weekend, as a recognition of her love and joy for life. And so, the citizens of Misantla can now see and enjoy Doña Cata's final request. It's a statue of, wait for it, a giant dick and balls atop the woman's grave. The representation,
Of course it is.
the representation of the fully erect penis.
She's like, screw everybody.
The representation of the fully erect penis stands 5.5 feet tall and weighs nearly 600 pounds. It took the engineers nearly a month and a team of 12 people, including a carpenter,
to raise the proboscis.
a carpenter, a sander, a sculptor, and a carver to build the statue. They got particularly delayed. You cannot make this stuff up.
Sorry, guys. I'm working on the head.
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. They got particularly delayed on the ball sack when the first attempt was, quote, disfigured, end quote, and they had to start the process again. Excuse me.
Geez.
They had to start the process again of melting materials to give it the necessary amplitude so that the testicles could be formed. Again, you can't make this stuff up.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, sometimes drinking news just kind of writes itself. Doña Cata is said to have had a particular affinity for penises and what she believed that they represented. Mota Limon recalled how his grandmother, quote, saw life with great optimism and that problems shouldn't overwhelm us, end quote. She conceptualized that idea to the family with the metaphor of a penis, meaning that when you're what she called a verga, that one should not give up. When problems arose, you needed to face them, and you'll pardon the reference here, head on. Photos of the grave quickly circulated on social media after it was unveiled on July the 23rd.
You mean when they erected the statue?
Yes, that's exactly what they did. The local media storm around the Dick statue has also led to some interesting new requests for the engineer's business. He was recently asked to build a gravestone shaped like a dump truck for the family of a deceased person who worked for years in the construction industry. Now, while not everyone in Misantla is excited about the giant penis, as you might expect, there's no doubt that Doña Cata and her love of the male organ will be remembered forever.
I can't come home tonight, honey. I'm really working the shaft.
Yeah, Ian, I'm gonna show you the.
It's taking longer than I thought.
I'm gonna just show you the photo that Adam will have posted here. There is Doña Cata, and there is a man working on the giant penis. And when I say working on it, he's got his arm wrapped around it like he's, quite busy. So, reporting live from Mexico, where I will sheepishly admit that I'm suffering from just a little bit of gravestone envy. My name is Cruze, and that is your
Drinking news, drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. You can't. It wouldn't be that funny if you made it up. It's
Oh man, that was a hard story to talk about.
yeah, it really was. It was.
This is going to keep happening.
Yeah.
All my jokes are going to be along that vein.
Yeah, I can understand. Oh my God. Well, yeah. You're right. You're right in the zone there.
I mean, that story's nuts.
Yeah. You know what we need? You know what the show needs? I'm serious. We need a drummer with a small kit in the back to just go. That would work. That would work great.
Oh man.
So yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? It's hard to even go on after that, isn't it?
All right, show's over. See you later. Bye.
Yeah,
Click.
thank you. Have a great week. So what are we tasting here? Oh yes, this is Black Butte 31.
Yes.
This is, so they do annually. They do a special like edition of their Black Butte porter, which you can buy the regular stuff. But this is one that I think has been.
Do you like chocolate?
I do like chocolate. Yes.
Do you like coffee?
Yeah, sure.
You're probably gonna like this beer.
Okay. So it's chocolate and coffee is what you're telling me.
Imperial Porter with chocolate, cold brew coffee, and cardamom, aged in bourbon barrels.
So I'm getting actually all of those flavors.
I get
from the
that
sip. You can
oaky
get the
dryness
chocolate.
is
You can-
dominant
yeah.
on the aftertaste. The celebration of our 31st anniversary, this year's Imperial Porter was inspired by Turkish coffee and uses cold brew from our very own Scott Hughes of Third Rock Roasters.
So I guess the Turkish coffee is why it's got the cardamom in it, because that's something you'll find more in coffees and teas from the Middle Eastern culture. So Third Rock Roasters, I believe, is a prominent coffee roaster outfit in Bend, Oregon, which is where they're from. So,
and also tipping in at a very light 12.2%. I'm for it.
yeah. What's
Bottled
your take
on
this?
6/11/19.
6/11/19. So this has been in the bottle for a while. Mm-hmm. I was thinking it was more recent than that. So that means they're now up to like 33 or 34.
Well, the question is, was that the year? Was it 19 when it was the 31st birthday reserve? And has it been? Because it tastes, it's really good.
Yeah,
It is
really
real
is.
good.
And there are some times when you have a stouter or porter that you've had in the bottle for several years that it starts to turn on you a little bit.
Well, it can. I've found in general that you start getting at between 4 and 6 years. And it very much depends on the beer, because I've had beers that have stayed longer that have still held up. I don't know if you remember, you were out for the show that me and Joel did.
Well, that was one where you kind of cleaned out your beer fridge.
We cleaned out my beer fridge and his, and he had some of the like earliest Bishop's barrels and some of the
Yeah.
earliest Divine Reserves, and there were a couple of them that were still drinkable.
Wow, interesting. Because that's been quite a few years now.
Oh yeah, many. Like some of those were back to 2009.
Well, this does not taste. It tastes aged, but it doesn't taste old. If that makes sense, it's still definitely in its prime.
Pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I like it. There's a the cardamom to me is the thing that makes it different from the other things of this
It
type
adds
that
a
I've had
very
before.
woody note that's not oak to it, if you ask me. It's very interesting. It's got a little astringency to it that's really nice.
I agree. That's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good.
I'm for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wave the flag as well. That's working on a number of
See, I would
different
drink
levels.
this floating on the river.
See, that's where we differ. See, I would have to go for something lighter than this if I'm like out in the sun. Or
I mean, it weighs probably exactly the same as any beer you're drinking.
So Assassin's Creed, the video game,
Now,
getting its own whiskey.
I've heard that that's a blast to play. I haven't played it.
Yeah,
I don't
haven't
have a
either.
video game machine at the house. I have a computer that I will occasionally use as a Diablo machine. Because Diablo's pretty simple. It's hack and slash. There's no real pretense to it.
I don't have the latest. I have a PS4 so I'm a little out of date. But I enjoy playing video games. I have not played Assassin's Creed, although everything I've read about it has been very good, and I've always thought it was one that I should try to play. But anyway, they're celebrating the 15th anniversary of that video game, and so they are releasing a special edition whiskey specifically for the franchise. Usually it's an energy drink. When it comes to like video games, right?
Right.
But Assassin's Creed is getting its own whiskey, and apparently spiced rum and vodka.
Wait, they
are
did a
on the way,
movie too, didn't they? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, there was. Did anybody see it? Did you see it, Ging? It was terrible. Yeah,
I
most
feel
video
like
game
I
movies are
started
terrible.
watching it, and then was like, "Oh, hell no."
Yeah, most video game movies are terrible. Yeah. So, anyway, they'll release this 15th anniversary straight bourbon whiskey this month, and they have plans to release a Black Flag branded spiced rum and a Valhalla branded vodka to the Assassin's Creed collection in September. So, again, I have no idea if these will be good. Just letting you know that they're coming. So, somebody, if you go out and try them,
Who's making the whiskey?
let's hope they're more like the.
Is there any information on who's making it?
Let me see if I can find out. They're Anthem Studios, a leading licensing, bottling, and distribution company, partnered with distillery Tennessee Legend. And that offers them apparently nationwide distribution.
I don't know what that means.
That's the distillery,
Somebody will know.
Tennessee Legend.
I'll have to ask somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the whiskey will be any good.
Well, hopefully it'll be good like the video game, not bad like the movie. You know what I mean? Like these are the way things go. It's going to be 60.
I mean, was it at least as good as like American Ninja?
Oh God. It'll run you $69, by the way, for a box.
Okay, so they're starting off.
Yeah.
I wonder if they came up with the price point before the whiskey.
Most likely, yeah. Most likely.
Hard to tell.
It really is. It really is. All right, we are going to take a break. We'll be back to wrap up the show. It's been a fun one here today, and yes, I will take a little more.
Yes,
of that,
you will, sir.
Of that.
Would either
Black
of you
Butte,
guys like
31. Refills, anyone? All right, we'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting.
Man,
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. We are so happy that you have made it through show number 293 with us. We are absolutely halfway to 333, which is going to be our big celebration show, which will happen sometime in 2023. I haven't mapped it out in the calendar yet, but
all right, we'll have to look at it. And Bruce, I expect you there.
Yeah, Bruce, we'll give you a date soon. I promise.
We'll probably invite Josh too, but he lives here, so it's not as big a deal.
Yeah. Is there anybody we should be careful not to invite?
Man, that Krockenberger guy.
Yeah, he's kind of a question mark.
He's suspicious.
Yeah.
No, come on. I don't know. You know,
No.
like we've had so many great people on this show.
Really, we have.
Like it will be so fun to and all these people are going to know each other for the most part.
Yes.
It'll be so fun, man.
It's kind of like a community, you know?
and then we have to invite Jeremiah from back
Of
in the day.
course,
So
yes.
just throwing him into the mix is like like, hey guys, here's a little Tasmanian devil in the middle of it.
But we got to put him and your
Mark,
your buddy
right.
Mark at the far end of the table. So if they go off on support
All their
lines
tangents,
for,
yes.
for cocktails and beer, that won't necessarily take over the show. But no, I love both of those guys, and it's gonna be so good to see Docs again and see so many of our favorite guests that we've had on the show. So if you are someone who is involved in a craft brewery or a distillery of some type and you'd like to be on the show, you certainly can contact us. It's a good way to get out there.
Reach out to us on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channel or
good way to get out there
things.
and support your thing that you do. We appreciate it, all that you do, and we love helping support brands and particularly things that are really craft oriented, things that are more organic of nature. Those are our favorite kind of things. So, and one of our favorite kind of things is the Black Butte 31.
It's so delicious.
That's a really good thing to be excited about. That and the tequila.
That
Very
tequila,
different.
the Don Cosme.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow, that's good. Matter of fact, before you take this away, I'm gonna
Avail yourself of a little more.
I'm going to yes.
Yeah. So, all right, coming up next week, I'm so excited, but I've never done this on the show before. I am going to teach you guys how to make a perfect cocktail, a particular cocktail.
I'm so glad. I thought you were going to be like, I'm not wearing pants.
Yeah. Well,
Again.
No,
Anyway.
I was going to say I've done that before. So that's already happened, and it seemed to pass without incident. So, but in any case, on next week's show, I'm going to teach you guys how to make, and I really believe I perfected this. I'm not kidding, the perfect vodka gimlet. It's a simple drink, but I feel like I've gotten it just right. So
I'm excited about that. Also,
excited to share this with you.
before summer's over, and since we have new staff in here doing the show, I feel like we should really have a little fun and maybe do an episode pool party and stretch out the staff a little bit, get them experienced at going out to different places and doing that. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Okay, that could be fun. Do you have a particular pool in mind?
You know, I'm down for whatever pool. I'll go buy an inflatable pool. We'll do it there.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah. I'll get a little inflatable rubber ducky.
I mean, my cats will poke holes in it,
That's all right.
but you know.
As long as it lasts through the show, we'll be fine. Yeah. All right. Well, we want to thank you guys for being here for Smoking and Toasting and for being here for 293 episodes so far, or at least 292. We know
it's
one
easy.
of them was
You just
lost.
take 333 divided by 2, you get 293. You're done.
All right. That's good to know. It's good to
It's
know.
halfway.
Well, thank you guys again for being here for the program. We will be back with you next week, and we have some great guests that we're lining up for the weeks to come. So we're excited about sharing those with you as well.
And on your way out, here's a picture of a dog.
Yeah, a picture of a really cool-looking Day of the Dead style dog. That's perfect to write out the show. Thank you, my friends, for being here. We will see you next week, and once again, as we like to say, cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.